so. Interesting developments in the grain markets. They seem to be, I guess, I would have to classify them as meandering. Oliver, what do you think is going on here with this grain market activity today? The market seems very confused.
Yeah, meandering, chopping around, I think those two go hand in hand, and that's exactly what we're seeing here in the price action to start the week as we look to wrap up the month. And I think we started a little bit softer in the overnight session on the back of spillover pressure, and then we got a headline in the middle of the night that President Trump said that China had called and wanted to make a deal. That has been walked back. Apparently there was no call, so you're seeing that volatility really play into the market, and that's kind of the day and age that we're in. There's no way to handicap that next headline. So expect the volatility to continue to linger. Now for corn, still relatively friendly. We're down here near contract lows, 363 3/4. Fishing for a little bit of a bottom. We need to see that hold and really springboard off of that. We got some good news yesterday with regards to U.S. and Japan making a bit of a trade deal, but we want to see a little bit more substance behind that and exactly what that entails going forward into the future. If we can kind of feed off of this positive momentum and feed off of the fact that we're not able to break with conviction below contract lows, potentially we see some short covering. We saw that Friday's commitment to traders report showed that funds sold the most contracts since 2017, 101,000 contracts. They're now net short about 56,000 contracts, so they're all over the board. But again, if we stabilize down here and this cooler weather starts to play into things a little bit more, potentially we see a little bit of a short covering rally.
The soybean trade, is it getting a bump from the colder weather right now?
I think that is certainly part of it, and I think early on in the morning we saw that that call from China really boosts things as well, giving up those gains. And we always take the overnight session with a grain of salt. It's a light volume trade that has been sold into here this morning. 854.5 is the recent spike low from the beginning of August. If we break and close below that, and there's really no good news around the corner, potentially we see the funds put the pedal to the metal and continue to sell beans. It's really not a whole lot of technical support till 815.5. Now, as you had mentioned, though, that cooler weather is going to be a huge factor going forward. I think that this does pose a little bit of a risk to the upside. But again, recent lows, 854.5 is going to be a big line in the sand for the bulls to defend this week.